and start stopwatch. Here we go. Okay, so this is a short presentation, and let me start by first acknowledging the collaboration of all these other people mentioned at the bottom and the agencies who have made this possible. So when we did this, submitted this paper, the key thing we were asked to do was to provide more context. And so let me start with a brief thing, one slide. So the idea here was to develop an architecture that can represent and reason with different descriptions of incomplete common sense domain knowledge and uncertainty. And because it reasons with incomplete knowledge, the second thing was to somehow support interactive and cumulative learning. So learning as it goes over time should not become slower, should still crystallize high-level concepts. And the third thing was to be able to crystallize this in an architecture such that you're able to understand the robot's behavior and establish that it satisfies properties. I will primarily focus on just the second and third one here. But the key inspirations are from cognitive systems research. So our architecture represents, reasons, learns jointly at different abstractions using different schemes and uses a distributed representation. Internally, you can assume that exists a logician, a statistician, and a creative explorer, but there is clear separation of concerns between what is domain specific and what is domain independent. So you can take the same methodology and apply it elsewhere. And there's a tight coupling between these entities. There are formal relationships that establish and can be used for establishing correctness, but still it's not a unified single representation, so it's computationally efficient. And we do both knowledge-based and data-driven processing, and it leads us to provide relational descriptions of decisions, beliefs, and answer different kinds of questions as explanations. Our example domains are this in a robot in simulation or in the real world, working with, again, tabletop objects or objects across an entire floor of a building. So the first high-level description is for the reasoning part. You can imagine that internally there is this logician who operates at a more abstract, like an armchair reasoner, who can tell you that you can go from place to place to fetch some things. And at this level, we use cognitive theories of action and change, and we use non-monotonic logical reasoning. But at the same time, there is a tight coupling between that and a finer granularity representation, where there are formal guarantees you can provide that for any abstract action, you can establish that there will be a sequence of actions at a finer granularity. And this here is done at the level of, say, the robot executing things. And here you can use, if you have them, probabilistic models of uncertainty, and you can use probabilistic planning methods. But the connections make sure that any sort of results that you get at the final granularity is ported back. And our interactive learner explorer is going to get new information and add on to the existing system in nice ways. So a quick thing about the linear learning and explanation bit. Normally, say you take a particular example of a robot trying to figure out if objects are occluded or if object structures are stable, you would normally have some feature extraction go on. This is the state of the art in computer vision. And then you will have the last one, the green box, where you will have some deep network system to give you the answer. Or if you're asking questions about the scene, it will output an answer as well, right? But instead we say, if you have some knowledge about the domain, let's use that to do some reasoning. And if the answer is found, you will stop right there. And if it is not found, you will automatically extract regions from the images where you're not able to provide answers and only use that to train your deep network system. But we won't stop there, both to try and understand the behavior, not the internal operation so much, but the behavior of the deep network, and also to make sure you don't have to keep learning. You will induce additional axioms or rules about the world that you did not know before and merge it with the existing system for subsequent operation. Right. And of course, the whole thing here is put into this larger architecture. I'm not going to try and explain the boxes, except briefly say that what you saw before was mostly here. And in addition to that, you have these additional processing layers to work stuff on the robot. And also, because we have this underlying system, it can do two things of this representing the world at different abstractions, both give you relational descriptions as explanations at the abstraction level that you want. And also, when the question from the human is unclear, whether it's a contrastive question or it's a counterfactual question, if it's not clear, it can automatically construct pertinent questions and ask it to the human to get the answer that it needs. And so normally, if you had to say, bring a cup, that is, you want a cup to be in the office, cup is say here, the location of the cup to be in the office. So then if you knew that initially cups are in the kitchen, then you would say, go to the kitchen, grasp the cup, move back to the office and put it down. And each of these would be executed using a probabilistic scheme, right? And with that layered architecture, but you can also ask different kinds of questions. So if I had this scene and I said, I want the red block on top of the orange block, you would say, okay, put the blue block down, put the orange block down, and then put the red block on top of it. But you can ask different things, either before, during, or after plan execution. You can ask questions, and you can also ask hypothetical questions and say, what would happen if I push the ball during this operation, right? For more details, of course, you can look at the paper. I'll just end with this slide and say that because of this nice coupling of representation, reasoning, and learning, the blue plot here is the accuracy of trying to answer questions about the scene. The red or orange one is us. The y-axis is accuracy. So you can see that even with really small images where state-of-the-art approaches struggle, we are able to provide higher accuracy. And we are also able to do so in the reasoning aspect, where we are able to quickly get plans that are both accurate and minimal, right? As in they are correct and also minimal, and we are able to provide accurate explanations as relational descriptions. Thank you.